Our next presenter today, our penultimate presenter today, is Shay Holmes. She's an environmental studies major and a global health minor, graduating in spring of 2022. All about that. But she's not done with UW yet. She's not done with it yet. She's coming back next year for one more year of eligibility as the fifth year for UW soccer. She's on the soccer team, so awesome for us. And while she's at it, she's not just going to play soccer. While she's at it, she's going to pursue her master's degree in sustainable transportation here. So she'll be a double dog. Woo! Awesome. The title of her presentation today is Back the Pack, Sustainability and Climate Change Among Student Athletes and Non-Athletes, a topic that's near and dear to her heart. Her host organization is UW Athletic Sustainability, where her site supervisor was Karen Babler. Her faculty advisor was Professor Christy Eby at Global Health and Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences. So let's give it up for Shay.
Let's back the pack. I usually like to start off my presentations with a bit of a pun, just to set the tone, especially when it comes to climate change, because it can be a real icebreaker.
Whoa.
Okay, but seriously, climate change is affecting everyone, and athletes specifically have big lifestyle footprints. They also are being disproportionately affected physically through heat and pollution. But this firsthand experience also allows them opportunity to give them a platform to speak up and promote change against climate change. So college generations are target populations, and universities are vital hubs in mitigating our climate crisis. 4 ways colleges are doing this now are through green buildings, alternative transportation modes, food shortage and consumption, and water use and recycling. So with this brought me to my research question: how does our climate crisis affect the knowledge and mindsets of Pac-12 college student athletes and non-athletes? So I interned with the UW Sustainability Athletics Department, and my site supervisor created the group called SAUCE, which stands for Student Athletes at the University of Washington for Sustainability. And this was what really sparked our interest in wanting to look at athletes specifically, passions, mindsets, and knowledge about sustainability. So I wanted to take this a step further, and I wanted to compare it to the groups of non-athletes in order to pass along to our Pac-12 Team Green. This is a group that's the first in its college athletics, and they're the ones who create our zero waste games, Go Green games, and all 12 Pac-12 schools are represented in this group. So with this, my methods were I conducted a literature review, I created a 20-question online survey, as well as I got to talk to even UW athletes and non-athletes just for some more personal suggestions on how to create more change across UW. So I received a total of 111 responses, and 7 out of the 12 Pac-12 schools were represented. So from this, I asked one of the questions: what is the most beneficial way to learn about climate change and sustainability? My top 2 answers were class and lectures and talking with peers, friends, and teammates. I found this a little surprising knowing the typical college student. So another issue is mental health, as we all know, is a concern across all college generations, and specifically eco-anxiety is a rising one. So with this, I asked the question: how often do these groups experience eco-anxiety when it comes to climate change? And both groups said they frequently do. So to compare these groups, it actually came across that non-athletes experience more eco-anxiety than athletes, which can be seen in 1 of 2 lights. 1, athletes just don't care about climate change, or 2, they might just have better coping mechanisms. So another interesting fact I wanted to know was the likeliness of student athletes versus non-athletes using their voice to promote change. And with this, it was seen that non-athletes were very likely to wanting to promote change to mitigate climate change versus athletes. In my survey, 96% of non-athletes answered that they think addressing climate change is extremely important, and only 60% of athletes thought the same. So this just might suggest that non-athletes are more willing and more likely to want to promote the change, and they just might be more conscious of all the impacts climate change has on them. So my internship informed my results because, 1, it gave me evidence that we need more athletes in SAUCE, and my evidence is supported in my surveys, but also that in my literature reviews, it supported that a growth mindset is associated with a pro-environmental behavior. So I conducted 2 proposals, 1 for my host organization and 1 for the Pac-12 Team Green. For my host organization, I split up into 3 sections: short-term, action-specific, and future. My short-term goals for SAUCE were to include flyers, sustainable competitions, social media, just to get more people to join. My action-specific ones included finding lower carbon-intense flights when we travel, eco kits on trips, less food waste, community cleanups. And then for the future, just partnering SOS with non-UW athlete groups and clubs just to spark more of the conversation across UW. So for my Pac-12 Team Green proposal, I propose that we start a student Pac-12 Team Green group. So just like them, we have one student athlete rep and one non-athlete rep to promote this change, as well as suggesting that we embed more sustainable and environmental courses across all of our degrees. So this is me getting to share my passion with the UW gymnast team. And I also got to share my passion at the UW Baseball Go Green game. Climate change does affect the knowledge and mindsets of Pac-12 college student athletes and non-athletes, and there is a difference between these two groups. So my next steps in this process are including more climate change, sustainable, and environmental courses across all degrees, since it matters in all of those sectors, taking more action-oriented steps to continue to progress forward, discussing and talking with peers to decrease our eco-anxiety, and overall, giving the student athletes the platform to encourage them to use it and use their voice to promote change, all in order to increase our climate and sustainable action towards mitigating climate change. It starts at UW and it starts within the Pac-12. So let's not only back the pack, let's back our planet. I can already smell the fresh air of the future. Thank you to my site supervisors, my faculty advisor, and this is our SOS Twitter tag if you want to reach them, and this is my Twitter tag. Thank you.
Okay, Christmas for Shae.
Yeah.
What's the goal of the Pac-12 Team Green Super?
So just like how I mentioned up there, is they have representatives from athletics and departmental groups. So just like that, we'd have an athlete rep, a non-athlete rep, and just how they do, like kind of promoting the Go Green games, zero waste games. I really think it'd be a good idea to have students' voices involved in that process. So like what we would look for, what we would get encouraged to promote at games, like how we would want to recycle or compost or do all that waste diversion. And then they could meet like once a quarter and just get together and then have another group for there too to go back and report to. So that's kind of the idea and the goal of it'd be kind of like what they do, but just on a student level, so we have more say of our generation. Oh gosh, there's 3 of you like right in a row. We'll go back and then we'll just go like, yeah, so yeah.
Okay, so what was your sample population when surveying non-athletes? I was wondering, like, what if, like, lots of environmental studies students got involved in it?
Yeah, so actually, it was actually really cool. So I was expecting that. I kind of prepared myself. But in my survey, I sent it to all Pac-12 Team Green members. They passed along to their campuses. And basically, I received responses so athlete-wise, it was 50-50. So I got like 49 athletes, and then non-athletes, it was like 51, whatever that math is. But then it was kind of cool because major-wise, it was a whole variety. I had some from like neuroscience. I had some from like marketing, because like all the schools also have different majors, so it's kind of neat. My population was UW, but in general, it's kind of cool how many actual different majors there were listed in my survey. It's kind of cool how many people wanted to support it. So, yeah.
My question was kind of similar. I was just thinking, you know, we saw different preferences and sort of concerns with the students or the athletes and non-athletes. I'm just wondering, could that be driven by demographic differences between the two groups and sort of their backgrounds and what, you know, what their families believe or care about?
Yeah, that would be something really interesting to look into, and that's why I kind of started. I didn't fully puncture through the like depth of it, but that's why the surface level, I was really interested in the mindsets of these. And I could have included some of those on my background. Yeah, because my background survey was more like age, like what year they were, to just see maybe if they had less or more knowledge on it. What I've even asked, like if they took classes on the environment, things like that. But demographics, more in depth, would have been interesting if I would have even gone deeper into just the UW level. Because also the other thing I considered was Washington could be different than California, what they want and suggest, just because of the different like climates and even different to Arizona. So it's kind of cool to see the different suggestions based on schools as well. So yeah. Yeah.
What current practices for sustainability do you see right now in the athletic department?
So we're trying to do one of the things we did, so actually fun fact, there was a POE student that actually graduated a couple years ago. She's on the volleyball team. She created our like compost, and like, so we have stickers all up on our like recycling trash bins, all that stuff. And then we actually just hosted, SOS actually just hosted an Earth Day. So we actually did restoration behind our facilities. We did like invasive species cleanup, and trash pickup and all that sort of thing. And then, yeah, like I said, we do the zero waste games and go green games. So if you ever come to sports in the fall season, spring season, winter, every team has a go green game where we set up a tent. We teach everybody coming in about sustainability and how to go green. And then there's usually like a little video. And then, yeah, the zero waste games, we compete against other Pac-12 schools to see who can come out with this less waste diversion rate. So it's kind of cool.
All right. One more question. One more.
Oh God, there's two. I think the one in the back had it up.
So you mentioned earlier that you found that having a growth mindset was associated with being more concerned about the environment. Do you have any ideas about why that might be?
Yeah, so the Growth Mindset Association was with like pro-environmental behavior, and one of the literature things I did, because I was interested in the mindset aspect, was based on the author, she was looking just at like how having, like if you have a fixed mindset around that sort of thing, you're less likely to want to change. You fall into this more of like eco-anxiety, like kind of thing of we don't adapt to things. So the Growth Mindset Association came from, if you have a growth mindset, you're more likely to like believe that we can adapt while our climate's kind of changing and we can make that change. So that's where it comes into then the pro-environmental action to want to learn more of how we can kind of better ourselves. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.